go running routes. It's the divisional round, ladies and gents. Okay, what are we doing? We're taking a look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers battling the Detroit Lions, folks. The last time these two teams met was October 15th, 2023, and Detroit won 20-6. All right, they will be going to the Ford Field, and the over-under is 49.5, and it's 6.5. Detroit Lions will be handing over to the Baker Mayfield charged Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who actually the experiment has worked out. And I even think potentially their Baker deserves a re-sign. Potentially, that's how I'm seeing it here. Baker's had a hell of a season, 28 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. And the same could be said about Jonathan Goff, 30 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. This is going to be an electric game here at Ford Field. They haven't won a playoff game in a long time, and they just won one. So now they're going to Ford Field again with a dub under the belt. How electric it's going to feel there. How incredible everything is going to be. Will the lights be too bright for Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Brady?
No, it'll be an interesting game for sure. Week 6 is when they face each other. Lions came into Tampa. I don't want to say handled business because it honestly wasn't that pretty of a game for the Lions either in that one. They had one big play by Amon-Ra St. Brown coming across the center, which was like the big weakness for the Bucs defense at the time. It still kind of is the crossing routes and the communication between the zones. So he had that and then just took it off for a run, very similar to the two big touchdowns kind of the Bucs had last week versus Philly to their undersized their wide receiver 3 and their wide receiver 7, I think, because the Moore guy came off of practice squad. That was the first game I think I've seen him all year. But similar things, ran across the field, wait till them to get open, catch and run. And that's what the Amon-Ra St. Brown moment was last game, because other than that, there wasn't much. I mean, he had a big game. Amon-Ra St. Brown was 12 of 15 for that game, but every other receiver in that game, Sam Laporta was 4 of 10. Nobody else had more than 3 catches. Their run game, they were between their running backs, they were held to just 40 yards rushing. So I think the Bucs are capable of keeping this a tight game. So I'd pick them to cover this game. But at the end of the day, I think the Lions can be too much, and I think they can score quickly. And in a similar fashion that the Bucs, did hold a lot of the Lions in check, the Lions did and absolutely still can hold Mike Evans in check, and that's kind of the backbone for the Bucs offense. Luckily, last week versus Philly, Baker Mayfield found other options. I don't know if you can do that versus this kind of a little bit stronger of a defense in the second half of the season with the Detroit Lions are. So I like the Detroit Lions here to win. I'd say Bucs cover, probably with the over, though. I think both these guys have a lot of points on this one.
I remember watching the game against the Lions down there in Tampa, and I felt like the Bucs were in that thing like the whole day, but they just could not get that offense started. That's the part that concerns me for the Buccaneers side of things is, can you be balanced enough? They were getting off 3-yard runs, and it was keeping the Eagles defense at bay last week. And it was good enough because you were setting yourself up with second and manageable to where you could take a shot. They got a lot of run after the catch last week. Poor tackling by the Philadelphia defense. The Lions have given up quite a few big plays through the air this year, so I think there is the possibility with Mike Evans to get loose a time or two on this Lions secondary. But the pass rush, the up front for Detroit has been pretty darn stout and very good against the run most of the season this year. So Baker's going to have to be crisp with his decision-making like he was last week. My big thing is, what is the Bucs game plan on defense going to look like? Last week, it was spectacular. It was on the money. Pressure hurts. No A.J. Brown. And Philly had absolutely no answers for that. This week, they're going to face Detroit Lions team that's very balanced on offense. And although they held them in check the first game, against the run, talk about blitzing Jared Goff. And this was a surprising thing to me, but he was the most blitz quarterback in the league this year. Out of 258 attempts, Goff was 65% passing on it. 13 touchdowns, did have 6 picks, but 65% is getting the job done, and that's not, that's burning the blitz right there. So Todd Bowles has got his work cut out this week trying to game plan for a situation to where I know he wants to go after the quarterback. I know the Bucs really don't have the horses to hold up in coverage too long, so it does worry me a little bit. And Jahmyr Gibbs was not a focal point of the offense at that point in time when they played too. He is now a factor within the Detroit offense. I like the Lions to win. I like the Lions to cover the 6, and I like the under here. I think the Bucs may encounter some trouble getting the offense going. It's been a fantastic run for the Bucs, similar to the Packers, similar to the Texans. Definitely didn't see the Bucs being in this position, and they've earned it. I thought they kind of just were the pseudo de facto, winner of the NFC North there, or the South, I mean. But watching that game last week against the Eagles, very impressed with what they've done. Baker is included. He played a hell of a game. Can he bounce? Can he keep that ball rolling? Can he play a hell of a game again this week? I don't know. I'm gonna go Lions under cover. How about you, Edward?
I mean, really, this is just emotions across the board here. Not that it wouldn't be for any other team, but the Detroit Lions haven't won a playoff game in a long time, and then they just did. So they're just really, high on emotion right now. Everybody, the Lions fans, across the nation, have been waiting to win for
coming
a while.
Out of the woodworks.
I mean,
This was the first time a text message has been sent that the Detroit Lions won a playoff game. A text message.
think about that for a second. There's never, ever been a text message before, ever sent saying they won, because they just won their first one since the internet. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Since the internet has been constructed and humans have been using it. All right. Well, with all that being said, on the other side, you have, right? You have Baker Mayfield over there, Couldn't get it going on the Browns. Couldn't get it going on the Panthers, Got something, lighted a spark there. Had some smoke on the Rams, Maybe that little bit of smoke created some fire, and now he's over with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, being a swashbuckler, ready to come in to the Detroit Lions and pounce on these kitten cats and make sure that everybody knows Baker's the man, that gunslinger. Congratulations to Baker Mayfield. Congratulations to Goff. Both coaching staffs, you can't say it enough. Another team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, shouldn't even be here. All right, it was called an experiment because no one believed the validity it could have had. No one even thought it had a ceiling. Right now, it just was a tarp over a wooden structure. And now Baker Mayfield is not going to allow this castle he built to be knocked down. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are ready to bang in this one. But I just think the Detroit Lions on this day in question for 4 quarters will be too much for the swashbucklers and that defense and the massive Vita Vea up the middle to stop this Detroit Lions from clawing, scratching, and gnawing its way to victory. So I'm going to take the Detroit Lions covering, giving up the 6, and I too will take the over if someone had been able to take that in the over. I'm taking the over here, and I think it just stinks to me that this is potentially how the Baker Mayfield thing's going to end. This is a story on both sides for the Lions because you want the Lions to go all the way because they're the underdog. Baker's the underdog. The Bucs shouldn't even be here because they're rebuilding. You guys really think if the Bucs win this game, they could make it to the Super Bowl? Is Baker capable?
The issue has never been,
Capable?
yeah, whether they're capable or not. It's whether they're capable of doing it consistently.
Right.
Because there's games where that offense looks ridiculously good, and then there's games where you're like Baker can't complete a pass to Mike Evans, or Mike Evans making drops, or
Right.
the run game is absolutely zero, and we've abandoned it. Like
Zero.
there's it's the consistency of the offense versus the capability to me.
What about you, John?
Bucks Super Bowl.
You a believer in Baker?
Out of all the long shots that are here, Bucks, Texans, Packers, this one is the most surprising. But watching them play, and even watching them play, all season, we call every game and stuff like that. So it's like there were lots of games going into the matchups where I'm like, nah, I don't see the Bucks winning this. They're playing the Indianapolis Colts, or no, I think the Saints are going to take the division. I've doubted this team quite a bit this season, so I can't sit here and definitively say that can't happen. But out of all the games, I would be the most surprised if the Bucks win this one. If they win, I mean, you're playing with house money at this point. Oh, you're having fun. You can tell that team enjoyed last week, and it felt good because there's been a lot of rumors circulating about Todd Bowles. There's been a lot of rumors circulating about Baker Mayfield should he come back, stuff like that, both locally and across the nation when people are talking about this situation. So it felt really good because I know the players are big fans of Todd Bowles. I might not be personally, but proof's in the pudding. This is a good team. So anything's possible. Can't count them out, but to me, that would be the biggest surprise sitting in the Super Bowl. So
Yeah. With you saying good team, it reminded me of C.J. Gardner-Johnson trying to talk trash about the Buccaneers, and he said, Tampa just needs a good, they're a good team. They just need a good quarterback over there to lead them to victory. And they got guys like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Russell Gage, and Baker Mayfield responds like, this dude's clearly hasn't watched any film because Russell Gage hasn't played since the preseason. He hurt his leg. Because sees how much this guy knows football or whatever. Like,
right.
That's the bulletin board material. That's the type of and Baker's done a good job at keeping a low profile because people have been taking shots at him for a long time. And this season, he hasn't come off to me at like the previous seasons to where it was cocky responses. I don't even see that. The things that just don't show good character in a person. To me, he's displayed really good leadership. He's done his walking on the field where he's supposed to, and been very humble off the field on the camera and stuff like that. So I've been thoroughly impressed with what Baker's done this whole season, on and off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
either way, great season for the Bucs. Couldn't have expected more. I think if you're a Bucs fan.
That's what I'm saying. I absolutely at this point. I mean, he's such a gunslinger, and I think that if they were to get past this game, I would think that at that point, then the sky is the limit, because if you can beat, a high, and I know that the consistency of the Lions sometimes has been spotty, but we're throwing all that out the window, and we're just looking at last week leading up to this week. The Detroit Lions look like a train car that cannot be slowed down, does not have any brakes, will be able to come up on anything, adapt to it, and move forward. Just like you could say what you've seen out of Green Bay, and then same thing with the Texans against the Browns. Wow. You just can't, you're just like a rookie, just looking like a vet out there. So congratulations and hats off again to Baker Mayfield and all the success that he's had in Tampa, and hopefully it carries on. But moving forward, gentlemen, if we don't have anything else, our last game here slated in Sunday. This is going to be a banger here. Not that neither one of these playoff games were bangers, because they're just absolutely incredible stories across the board, and this one here is just going to be another one